Hey, everybody. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, no matter where you are in this beautiful world. I hope you're staying safe. Today, we're going to spend some time with a guy named Bill Alderson. And I've known Bill since I had hair, and that's been a long time ago. We've been through Network General together. We knew each other back when I was working for Progressive Computing, when we were still doing just WAN analysis. But as we moved into LAN analysis, Bill came out as a preeminent teacher, trainer, analyst, and everything. And he's been doing this for a long time. And Bill, not too long ago, reached out to me and said, I've come up with a great idea about making data safe. Because every time you send a packet out, it's like sending your child out in the middle of town by themselves. You don't know who's around them, where it's going to, or whatever. And so Bill has come up with this incredible idea, which is a fundamental part of TCP/IP. It's called hop count. And it's not for bunny rabbits, but it is for your data. Okay. And so Bill's going to take us through it today. And we're going to do a series with Bill so we can dig deeper and deeper and help inform people how important it is to delimit your data. So when you send a packet out, it doesn't go to the bad guys. It doesn't go around the world. It only goes where it needs to go. And that saves you from data leaks, breaches, attacks, everything you can think of. So, Bill, great to have you today. Great to be with you. You're in the sunny state of Texas. And take it from here, Bill. Thank you very much.
Hey, Tim, wonderful to be with you today. Man, over the years, what has it been, 30, 40 years, we've been working with packets, looking at packets, understanding network protocols, very powerful components. Well, this little thing that you just mentioned, which is hop count, that's been in TCP/IP since the beginning. Vint Cerf popped it in there in order to make sure packets couldn't go and stay in the internet when they were lost forever, consuming all the internet's bandwidth. So we basically took that technology and said, hey, what if we did this? So I want to explain hop count real quick so it's clear. Number one, it can start out as high as 255. That's an 8-bit word. You can count to 255 with that. And that's inside your packet. That's how many routers you can go through. So it starts out at 255, 254, 253. Every time it goes through a router, it decrements by 1. Now, you'll see this going over to the other side across the internet, popping into this other data center. Boom, it's there, and it still has 240 hops left. That's a lot of hops. That means it can go around the world 10 times with 240 hops. So what we learned from that is it started at 255. Look at the math over on the left. It started at 255. It got to the destination with 240. Therefore, we consumed 15 hops. So if you want to always get there reliably, you need at least 15 hops. Now, what we've discovered is that the operating systems have a default hop count of 64, 128, or 255. That means that they could go global. Why? I'm going to show you that by lowering your hop count, a very simple capability to, let's say, 4. Why would we lower it to 4? There's 3 routers in the data center. 4, 3, 2, 1, kaboom. The router now destroyed. That last router destroyed that packet, threw it away. We take that and alarm on it so you know that somebody tried to take your data outside the data center where you have set it. Now, you might be thinking, well, Bill, I have a lot of servers that need to get to other data centers that need to be communicating elsewhere. All we're doing is trying to set this on key vital servers, but those vital servers, you may need to connect those 2 green data centers. So use a VPN between all your data centers. You can keep your hops low on both sides. They can still intercommunicate, replicate, backup, do business and transact, but they can't get to the internet and they can't get to potential users on your network who might compromise your data. So that is how hop count works. What do you think?
Well, I think it's wonderful. To me, when you talk about hop counts and delimiting the exposure of your packets, it's kind of like putting a fence around your building and saying only the correct people can come in and only the right people can leave. And that way you're actually protecting your data from advanced attack modalities, lateral attacks especially, data leaks you can easily pick up like that you got a data leak going on. And Bill later, when he actually gets into the operating software, which we hope we'll get a view today, but we're going to do a full video on it in a week or two. You're going to see how easily this can be done to protect your data. So SecOps can say, hey, wait a minute, I don't need my Windows to have 128 counts, hop counts. I only need 12 or I only need 20. And this will really help. Number one, it'll protect your data, but it will speed your network up. You'll have less management issues. And if you start seeing data leaking, it'll pop up right away and let you know where it's leaking to, who's got hold of it. And, just recently there was a breach and it may put the company out of business because the fines are going to be in multi-million dollars. And if they'd had HopZero, number one, they wouldn't have had to wait 120 days until someone who was a dark web investigator called and said, hey, did you know all your data's out in the dark web for sale? And so, people start thinking about ways to protect your network by delimiting the length of time or the path time or the path count of your packet. I'm sorry, Bill, go right ahead.
Let's talk about this right here. We call it packet lifetime. It's also known as TTL because it used to actually be expressed in time through routers, but now that you can send packets through a router in nanoseconds, it just went to 1. So it's either 1 or the amount of time. And so now we just use hop count. And in IPv6, it's only called hop count, no time to live in V6. But here, take a look at this. Over on the left, you've got your data center. Your data center has a device in it. You know that device, if it's a Cisco box, look at the far top right. It's a Cisco or an Oracle device, that has a hop count by default of 255. If it's Windows, it has a hop count of 128. 128 routers you can go through. And if it's Linux, it's 64 hops. Well, we've discovered and done a lot of analysis on the largest networks in the world at all places. And guess what? We've learned 40 hops is all it takes to get from any place on the globe to any place on the globe. Now, there are millions of routers on the internet, one right in your home, one in your business. That's the last router that it goes through to get to you, but you only need 40 hops to get from end to end anywhere in the world. So what does that tell you? It tells you that the default operating system hop values allow your data to go global. Now, why? Well, in the early internet, when VentSurf and others put this thing together, they said, we want to interoperate. We want to collaborate with Russia, China, and even North Korea. We want to talk with them. We want to interoperate. We want to study things with them. And that's what the initial internet was an academic network in order to collaborate with the entire globe. Now you have your most vital servers in that data center, and it has a default hop count that can go global. And unless you have a firewall that is absolutely perfect, and I mean not one error, not one open statement, your data can go anywhere in the world. Now, take a look over on the left. What do you see there? That device is in the data center. How many routers do you have in the data center? What does that say there, Tim?
Well, it says you got 4 in the data center.
So if I set my hop count to 3 or 4, it's going to stop at the edge of the data center. Do you know that firewalls cost about $100,000 for enterprise environments? And guess what? HopZero can make any router you have anywhere in the world a $100,000 firewall by just setting the hop limit to expire at one of those routers. Now, that's a pretty good cost-effective solution. I can put a firewall anywhere in your company, anywhere in your environment, anywhere in your home, anywhere on the internet that we want to, saving you $100,000 per. Now, I'm not saying you don't need firewalls. God forbid, we do need them. However, sometimes we want more of them and we don't have the budget. So I can say 4 hops for that device. That device on the left has a 255 Oracle database, and I neuter it. I set it to 4. It goes 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. The data can't get out of the data center.
And this is very important because people don't realize, well, first off, they don't even have a clue where their data is going. I would say probably 90+% of enterprises have no clue where their data is going to. Firewalls are great to have, they're a necessity, but they're also devices that need to be constantly maintained. Okay, they have very strict code to set up correctly, and all you have to do is make one mistake. Okay, one, and your firewall is not neutered, but certainly not going to be effective. For HopZero, and HopCount's been around since Vint Cerf, Rob Kahn, and those people did it. But when Tim Berners-Lee brought us the World Wide Web, no one ever thought about going back and resetting the default TCP/IP, and so we leave it at the operating system level. And this is very scary. If you notice right there where it says 64 Linux, that's where all our voting machines are. And right now, we know for a fact that Russia, China, Korea, et cetera, are trying to breach our voting machines. They've never been successful in the past, okay, even during the previous election, because I was on one of the review committees and we looked at all the data and everything for months and months. But now they're doing a lot of damage, and people don't even realize it right now. But with HopCount, you wouldn't have to worry about that. You can
Exactly.
be able to limit it.
So you can set, so I live in Travis County in Austin, Texas, and the voting machines are in each county, and they're counted by county. All the election results are by county across the entire United States. All I do is I go in and I watch where those voting machines are traveling. I watch where the edges of the network are, and I tell you, these voting machines should have a hop count of 6.
Right.
They can still get to every spot inside Travis County, but they cannot get to the internet. They cannot get outside of the state of Texas. They cannot get out of the United States. They can't get out of the Travis County. So that keeps them safe. Now, what about the infusion pump or the heart-lung machine that's connected to the network?
Yeah.
What about your power grid that's connected to the network? By default, these systems can communicate unless you have perfectly formed egress firewalls to stop those devices. They can, by default, go anywhere in the world. And we believe that the voice of one crying in the wilderness, this is absolutely unsatisfactory. We need to lower our hop counts to make our devices incapable of communicating beyond the sphere of trust that we have defined.
That's like having your child go into town by themselves and wander around. You don't know who they're talking to, or who's going to try to use that against them. And it's not just Linux, by the way. I'll bring up one other thing. We talk about utilities and power grid. All of our geophysical, all of our gasoline, oil, and that refineries use SCADA systems, and they're fundamentally Linux. And not too long ago, I actually saw data that someone sent me where a SCADA system was communicating with programmers in Russia.
Yes.
Now, we know the Russians have already shut down. They showed us once how they could shut down our grid. And they did it exactly when they said they would. And then they turned it back on in less than an hour. But for about an hour, the East Coast in one area didn't have power. And that happened about 2 years ago. So they showed us how vulnerable we are. So having something like this is like having your own police force, but also you have a fence around your data so you know it's not getting out to get the bad guys.
So another thing that I want to make mention of, legacy devices.
Oh, yeah.
Windows 7 just went legacy. No more updates, no more security patches.
That's right.
What does that mean? Well, if you still have Windows 7 or even, God forbid, Windows XP, we can go neuter those hop counts. At least if you are insistent on continuing to use legacy capabilities, we neuter the hop count on those machines so that they cannot leave your organization. So that's another very powerful capability that the HopZero system has.
Well, in IPv6, it's also important to delimit the network neighborhood communications, because you don't know, you may be setting up a network neighborhood with some router in France or Germany or China.
Right.
Yeah, so in IPv6, if you're an IPv6 person, you need to delimit that also. Don't think that IPv6 fixes your wandering packet problem.
No, same hop count applies in IPv6. Now, what we do is over on the left, on the bottom, I hope you can see it, we take your vital server and we change the hop count. Oh, we don't install 50,000 gigs of software on your box. Matter of fact, we don't install any software on your box. You know what we do? We use Ansible, Puppet, Chef, or Active Directory, or some other means that you already have installed to change the hop count variable. So that machine, that vital server, you just take our recommendation that we give you, put it on your vital server and say, hey, set this hop count to 3. 3, 2, 1, 0, boom. It cannot communicate outside of the data center, which we define as your sphere of trust. If it does attempt, number one, it can't. Number two, it alarms and it lets you know, hey, somebody's come into your data center, or you have a bad system administrator and he's trying to exfiltrate your data to North Korea. He just got hired. We don't know much about him or her. And he tried to connect out to a very bad place to exfiltrate all of our information. Not with HopZero. Because why? Because that vital server we have predetermined and set in the kernel operating system, it can only communicate 3 hops. That's it. And when it tries to go that 4th hop, boom, packet's dead. We alarm and say, hey, alarm, alarm. It's not like artificial intelligence alarms that are alarming on all sorts of fictitious things and causing you to have huge staffs to manage these alarms. HopZero alarms are very, very actionable, very powerful. And if you get one of our alarms, you'd better look at it because you're about to lose your data. Or you need to know if you're Coca-Cola and that vital server has your Coca-Cola syrup formula on it. It's an Oracle database. It's got a hop count of 255 by default. That means if there's not appropriate egress firewalls, your Coca-Cola syrup formula that you've been making billions of dollars on for hundreds of years can walk right out the front door because your hop count is so high. So we set that hop count down to, let's say, to 3 or 4. Boom. Now PepsiCo hears that you got it on that Oracle database. They come in, they try to get into your vital server. Boom. They try to take it out. HopZero builds the Hotel California data center where you can check in and you can check out anytime you want. And never leave with our data.
Yeah, you know, the sphere of trust, by the way, you can establish that by the software that HopZero also provides. It gives you a clearer view. I've actually seen it, and Bill's going to give us a sneak peek in a little bit, but you can establish what that sphere of trust is. You know, in other words, how big is the fence you're going to build around your network data? How important are those frames that are going out? You know, they could carry financial information. When you have a data leak, they take everything. And if you, if you set your sphere of trust correctly, you won't have to worry about a data leak or breach. You gonna put the screen up, Bill?
Yeah, right here.
There you go.
Can you see it now?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So this is an example. I have HopZero in my house. Why, you say? Well, I want to make sure that those printers that are right behind me can't communicate out to vendor A, vendor B, vendor C. And every time I run out of paper or print supplies or ink, it pops up and tells me where I can go to buy it. Do you know that those printers have a hop count that's huge and they can go out, and they do, right automatically, as well as your refrigerator, as well as your thermostat, as well as your television, as well as all your IoT gear, as well as your speakers. Everything in your house can just pop right out. And if you don't have appropriate egress firewalls, which require a very high level engineer to put together, your data can travel the world. And one of those things can be compromised and used as a backdoor to get right back in to see everything in your network, to connect to the cameras in your house, the cameras on your iPhones, the cameras in your computers, etc. Why? Because you are allowing IoT devices right now with high hop counts to go out and connect to the internet automatically, and they can be a backdoor right into your corporation, right into your home, right into your bedrooms, right where you live. And I know you don't want that. So I put HopZero right inside my home. Matter of fact, I have HopZero on 2 feeds. One is on my WAN feed. Everything coming in and attempting to get into my through my router. That's on the outside of the router on the internet. The other one is on the inside of my environment. So I can come over here and first just show you what is being attempted on my network at any point in time. Boom. I click this. I can then see everything that is trying to connect to my environment. What do you think of that? Is that where you thought your data was going?
No.
So I can click on.
I didn't want it to go there.
I can click on any one. You see that 148? I click on 148 and it zooms into Russia. That right there, my friend, and you can ask Tim, this is not staged. Right there, that number 4, zoom in even further. That's the Kremlin, my friends, right there.
That's right.
The Kremlin is trying to connect right in to my environment from Moscow, Russia to Austin, Texas, right now, this very minute.
That's scary.
Okay, so I'm showing you not only where it's coming to, what kind of a system it is, but I can click right here and show you, boom, these are the protocols that they're trying to connect in with. Microsoft SQL. Guess what? If I make one click on that Microsoft SQL, watch what happens. Oh, I'm lost. I'm lost, Tim. You come down and click that world button, boom.
Yep.
That's where all the Microsoft SQL attempts are coming from around the world into your network right now.
Dang,
and you can see their SYN attacks. See?
Yep.
The SYN bit set, all your TCP IP Wireshark guys, we've got all this information for you. And guess what? All we capture are the packet headers, no data. We do not take our customer data, only the IP address of the internet and the IP address on the inside of the network, which is reused, our RFC 1918 addresses. And we tell you how much data is being sent, where it's coming from, what autonomous system it's coming from, and what the round trip was, if it got a connection, what the IP address is in China, Russia, around the world, and the name of the organization trying to break into your environment. What do you think of that?
Wow, that's scary. And think about that for a second. When you're a company and you have vital data, whether it be GDPR data or be domestic data, Canadian data, wherever you're at in the world, you want to keep your data safe. And when you look at that, that's scary. Yeah, go ahead.
Speaking of GDPR, one button filter, click. This is showing us right here all the GDPR connections to your network. So if you're doing a GDPR study and you're doing an audit on GDPR,
wow,
this is all the connections from Europe. Now, this is very key. This is the client doing the TCP initiation SYN from Europe. That's how we know the customer came from Europe. Do you know that all that data that you're collecting in that server down here is subject to GDPR? If they logged in, if they put their name in, if they put their email in, if they have their Social Security or any sort of numbers or credit card numbers, you have to, by law, be able to expunge that data. So you need to know where your people are connecting from, what they're trying to do, and what those servers in Austin, Texas are doing to collect data from the GDPR areas. Same thing with California. And now you've got it. So now you can see right here all the places and what the ports and protocols are. I click right here and I go to common metrics like bytes, sessions, that sort of thing. And let's go to client attributes and let's go to country. Boom, right there.
Yep.
Netherlands, and look how we calculate the number of sessions: 835, Bulgaria's second, UK's third, Germany, look at all this. Croatia, one.
Yeah,
One click, and I can see what packets are coming from Romania. Click. Who are they coming from? Click. Zoom in right down to the street level, to the building level. This is Bucharest, Romania. Boom, right like that. And now what you want to do is set your hop counts low on your vital servers to make sure that they cannot get out of your data center and get to these places. So the first thing that we do is we show you, where's your data going? Who's it going to? Why are you allowing this? So when we show people where their GDPR connections are coming from or where their data is traveling to or from around the world, they're aghast. They're absolutely aghast. And the first question I do is I say, hey, is this where you thought your data was going?
Yep. Well, it's like turning just turning your data loose, and where it lands is anywhere. You never know.
So let me show you how easy it is to do this. Once you're on our AWS portal, you click captures. You can either go to a live feed that we've set up, or you can come down here and upload a packet capture from your network, wherever it is here. And once you capture and pull that up, you can simply click on that capture and it will show you where that trace file has all your data coming and going to around the world.
Yep.
A network analyst, the first thing most network analysts, once they hear about our product, they want to do is they want to see, what exposure do I have? What's the triage of where my data is traveling? How many hops is it going? Who's sending me the most number of bytes? Because I can click right here and I can filter on number of bytes from the client, filter on number of bytes from the server. I can see all the information on sessions. Who's got the most number of sessions? What's the round trip time to the locations? And how many hops do I have? That's key, because no one in the world is taking a look at where your packets are going in distance. That packet lifetime right there, low hops, high hops. And you see, one time it had a hop count of 18, another it was 19. Therefore, there's what we call hop jitter. We coined that term so that you can see when your routes are flapping. You can see your round trip latency time. You can do all of these things with our product so that you can see where your data is traveling, how much it's traveling, where it's traveling to. And we do detailed research by just clicking on the dot. Boom. This is going to Amazon.
Wow. Well, we're going to do in 2 weeks, or a week or two, whenever we get a chance, Bill, we're going to come back and spend nothing but time going through this, so people can really get a real hands-on, really the extensive value. I mean, there's a lot of data here, but to me, the most impressive part is I can tell you where my data is going to, and where I don't want it to go to, I want to take action quickly. Now when someone purchases your solution, they get a box and they get software. Is that basically what it is?
Actually, if all you want to do is examine trace files, you don't need a box.
Okay.
We just give you an account on the portal. You log in, you upload your traces, boom. If you're a pen tester, you can very quickly, while you're pen testing, you can capture a trace off of your firewall, your router, your switch, and then store that, and you can actually see what you're actually penetrating and how many hops it is, where it's coming from, etc. You can see and then report to your customer not only what you were able to interrogate and get into, but what was walking right out the front door during your pen test.
Wow. And I'm going to bring this up to several of my friends that are pen testers here, because this is one thing that you just don't have access to 99.9% of the time. Even large systems don't give you, large monitoring and analysis systems don't give you this kind of information. And this is vital to know how big you need to build a fence around your data. So, well, here also, let's talk about Security Institute, because Bill started this back when we both had hair, and and he's been extremely generous, offering people free access for quite a while. I have sent numerous people that I know from law enforcement uh, to this site, and I'm actually in a college program where I'm helping the students get some vital real world experience. And Bill's been extremely generous in letting us have that. And maybe Bill, I'll become a certified net analyst. I don't know if I'm smart enough, but I may try. So,
well, we've got 3,400 security and network forensic professionals certified under certified net analyst. And now we've put that umbrella underneath Security Institute. You can go see all of these courses. We have 3,200 or 3,400 certified net analysts. Here's all the information that we have. And all this information is online with everything you need to watch all those videos, about 50 hours worth of videos, all free. Now it is a little older. It came from VCRs. But I put it all on there so that you can go and learn about TCP/IP. It hasn't changed in 40 years.
It ain't going to change.
It's still the same. And Ethernet hasn't materially changed. So we teach all of those fundamentals, and we've certified 3,400 people.
That's great.
We also have a new course on here from HopZero. And this course normally costs $250. It's learning, setting, and monitoring appropriate hop values. And for a limited time until the end of the year, if you put in the promo code of INSIDE 2020, INSIDE 2020, all one word, you can get this course for free and learn everything about learning, setting, and monitoring appropriate hop values completely free of charge.
Yeah, we're going to put all that information on the article that we're going to post, which will also link you to our gambling here. And in the future, as we add more, we're going to add more links on the articles with this, kind of like a brief summary. It'll be on Network Datapedia. It's the old lovemytool.com, but now it's Network Datapedia, PEDIA.com. Or you can do WiFiAnalyst.com, any of them. We got plenty of links. So, but if you go there, we'll definitely make sure that it looks great. You'll get access to this kind of stuff that Bill's offering. And this is kind of stuff that every network person should jump on. When someone says, hey, I'm giving you a free class, jump on it. Because learning in this industry, I'm in my mid 70s and I still read hundreds of printed pages because I'm old style, but I also go on the internet and read stuff all the time. This is a great opportunity. Bill, first off, thank you for your time. Secondly, I am extremely impressed with what HopZero can do. And thirdly, my question is, why aren't people ringing your phone line off the hook?
Let me answer that. It's because I do not have Cisco branded on my forehead with, like you used to brand your cows.
Yep.
And I don't have a tattoo that says Cisco. But if I've been thinking about getting a job at Cisco on the shipping dock, just so I can say, I work at Cisco, and then people will listen to me. Because if you don't work for one of those big vendors, Americans don't usually think you know anything. So don't believe that. Good things come from small vendors.
But one thing to mention:
acorns grow mighty oaks.
Right. This software and everything is made, built, blessed, tested, and supported in the United States of America. This is not a white box coming out of China that someone prints his name on. Okay. This is 100% American made. Bill's been doing a lot of work lately with law enforcement because law enforcement agencies need to protect the data, and a lot of them get easily hacked into the FBI networks and things like that. And the FBI is very good about trying to catch them, but it's even difficult for them. And NSA and NRO and some of the other monitoring companies have recently lost some of their power to monitor what's going on in the world. But they're very interested in this too, because they want to know what's going on in the network from the United States. And during the Obama administration, we find out years later that there was a breach and there was some major problems inside of the Cisco voice over IP system. And it wasn't even, and literally China, anybody that knew about this breach could be a man in the middle attack and just sit there and listen to very high level conversations. And it wasn't until about 2 years ago there were actually a fix came out. And if they had known how far their frames are going, they could have protected confidential information leaking from our government, which a lot does leak from our government. So, Bill, what do you? Oh, you're showing us SCADA.
And yeah, this is just some links on our site, HopZero.com/police, HopZero.com/SCADA, and explaining how we provide sphere of trust services to protect data communications and isolate your most critical data.
You know what's funny is if you go to the mountain, we call it, where all of our secure stuff is embedded deep in a mountain, they prevent people from coming in and people from going out with information, but yet I don't think they do a very good job of protecting where the data goes. This is the solution. Everybody should look at this. It's not that expensive. You're not spending $100,000 to get another server that you've got to find somebody to pay $100,000 to manage it, program it, keep it up to date. So you don't have to have that. So, hey, Bill, next time we get together, we're going to focus at nothing but your operating system and the GUI that you got. And by the way, it's a real GUI. You don't have to line code anything. It's run by real people. I hate when someone says, "Oh, it's great, but I got to put in line code." And I don't care how good you are. I can guarantee you that you make mistakes in line code. And when you're programming a router, it can be very tough too. This doesn't need it. It just automatically tells you what's going on. Bill, thank you. Everybody go to HopZero.com and check it out. And if you want, you can reach out to Bill. Bill's a very approachable person. I've known him for, like he said, about 40 years. It's been at least 40 years. And we worked together at Network General and stuff in the early days. And so just reach out, talk to Bill. If you have any questions, just call Bill. Bill's very open to discussing stuff like this with you. He is passionate. He's a authentic analyst. He's been here from the bit, byte, nibble, and octet layers forever. And I hope everybody has a safe day, stays out of trouble, stays well, wear a mask, wash your hands, and stay safe. It's the main thing. Oh, and by the way, I'm going to mention, I was okay with Bill. I have a program I'm doing in Georgia right now called Stop the Bleeding. Basically, statistics indicate around 200,000 people die every year in our wonderful country from bleeding out. And that's ridiculous because stopping bleed is very easy. And there's an organization called Stop the Bleed where they can train you. And they're a wonderful organization. They were started by the American College of Trauma Surgeons and have a phenomenal program. So if you get a minute, think about saving a life, because if you save a life, it'll change your life. So take care, everybody. Bill, thank you again for your time and all your efforts. Everybody be safe. God bless all. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much. Sure appreciate it.